What's going on, guys, and welcome back to WrestleRant Ranks here on the channel, where I, Graham G.S. and Matthews, do tier list, rankings, quizzes, and stuff of that nature every Monday here on the channel. Now, last week's episode went up on Tuesday. We're back here on track with Mondays going forward. Didn't have a concrete idea for what to do for today's episode, so as you can see, we're doing WWE superstars who left for WWE, or rather left WWE for AEW. Now, as you can tell from tierlistmaker.com, that's where this quiz is obviously coming from, that we've done other tier lists from this website. This was created back in August of 2021. So obviously a lot more people have since left WWE for AEW. Some of these people aren't even in the company anymore. And I'm really going off of not even the debut or just like the individual themselves, but rather the run that they had. And there's 17 images here that we're going to go through and rank them from the best, lovely, all right, just about bearable, and get in the bin. I think this was made by Cultaholic because it says here, right there, follow Cultaholic on Twitter. So I'm going to assume they made this probably for a video. I didn't choose this one for that specific reason, but I'm going to use Cultaholic's tier list here and rank them myself. If they did a video on this, which I assume they did for some sort of article or something, I'm not going off of that. I have not seen that, so I'm going off of my own list here. And as you can see, we got 17 images down below of 17, 18 if you include tag teams and whatnot, of people that have left WWE for AEW. Now, again, these are all from 2019 through 2021. They did not include anyone that came after that, which there were a lot more people, obviously, because this article, or rather this list, was created back in August of 2021. So as we get going here, I will remind you guys, check out the other tier lists and rankings and quizzes that I've done here on the channel, ranking the best World Championship matches in Royal Rumble history, which I did last week. The week before that, can I name every Royal Rumble runner-up ever in under 8 minutes? I did that 2 weeks ago. We've done the greatest NXT auras in NXT history, the greatest auras in NXT history. We've done best Raw theme songs, forgotten Penta rivals that he should face again in WWE, all of which are in the WrestleRant Ranks playlist here on the channel, so check that out down below in the description box. So let's get into this here. The best, lovely, all right, just about bearable, and get in the bin. We'll start with Ty Conti. She's the first image here. She's had a fine, I think, run in AEW. She has improved a lot from where she was in WWE 4 or 5 years ago. She got fired, I think, in 2020 during the COVID cut. She was among the first COVID cuts. And she was in WWE for a while, specifically NXT. She never made her way to the main roster. In AEW, she hasn't won any gold. She's gotten quite a few title shots, the TBS Championship, the Women's World Championship, the NWA Women's Championship, when that was defended on Dynamite once upon a time. I'm going to put her at just about bearable. She got pregnant 2 years ago. She has yet to return to AEW television. She's good, but there's far better people here on this list. So I'm going to put her at just about bearable, because it's not really her fault that she hasn't really been doing anything, but she really hasn't done much. In her 5 years in AEW, she really hasn't done all that much aside from improve. Andrade obviously has since been back in WWE. He has since gone back to WWE. And his run in AEW lasted, about 3 years, 3.5 years he was there. You would never know it because they didn't do shit. He was off TV for what felt like half that time. I'm going to have to go get in the bin. I love Andrade, but what did we really get out of an Andrade AEW run? We got a couple good matches here and there, but overall, he didn't do fucking anything, and he went right back to WWE since then. So I'm going to put get in the bin, and that's not from a talent standpoint. That is purely, even his debut was fucking botched. Remember when Andrade debuted in AEW, and he had Vicky Guerrero with him? And then they smartened up and put Chavo with him instead. That lasted all of a month. Chavo left, never came back. I think he had a one-off appearance on Ring of Honor a couple of years after that, about maybe less than a year after that. But since then, we have not seen Chavo back in AEW. But Andrade had Jose the Assistant. He linked up with Rush and La Facción and Gobernable. That also didn't really go anywhere. So I'm going to put his run in the get in the bin territory. FTR, they got to be at the best. Whether they be the best of the best, we'll get to that a little bit later on, but they've had a great run in AEW in the last 5 years since they debuted. Much longer than they were on the WWE main roster, which they desperately wanted out of in 2019 and 2020. They've won the AEW World Tag Team Championships, the New Japan, the IWGP Tag Team titles, the Ring of Honor Tag Team titles, and have had a litany of amazing matches on pay-per-view and on Dynamite. One of the best tag teams in AEW's short history, so I got to put them in the best territory. Brody Lee, Obviously was not there long enough before he passed to be like the best. The Dark Order stuff, we don't really know how long of a shelf life they really would have had with him as the Exalted One. Probably would not have lasted that much longer. He probably would have outgrown the group at some point. But excuse me, but I will say, I'm going to put him in lovely, 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 because I feel like in the time that he was there, he won the AEW TNT Championship, had that World Championship opportunity at Double or Nothing, really reinvented himself from what he was doing in WWE previously as a member of the Wyatt family and just being like the, speechless Luke Harper in WWE, even when he was on his own. In AEW, he found a new voice. He reinvented himself, had some very good matches in the time that he was there, and also went on a high note. He had an amazing debut as well in the first Pandemic Dynamite, but he also went on a high note in that dog collar match with Cody Rhodes, I think in October of 2020. So maybe not the best because it wasn't really that big of a sample size in the time that he was there, but the 7 or 8 months that he was in AEW on television, he had a great run. So I got to put him in lovely, lovely, lovely. Jon Moxley has got to be the best. I mean, he's been one of the faces of the company in the last 5-6 years, has won the World Championship multiple times. The Death Rider stuff has been terrible, but that's really a small fraction of his time in the company. From debuting that amazing debut of Double or Nothing 2019, going on to have other great matches, win other championships, great feuds and matches with CM Punk, Kenny Omega, among many other people in the last number of years. Adam Page, their little great mini feud in late 2022, early 2023. The stuff he's done with Bryan Danielson, Blackpool Combat Club. He is one of the biggest faces in AEW. They've really built around him and have protected him at great lengths, sometimes at the expense of other people. But that aside, he's had a very good run in AEW. So Jon Moxley's got to be 1A on this list. The fucking OC, I'm not even really sure it's fair to say that they jumped from WWE to AEW because they were in AEW for a while on and off in 2021. But they never actually worked there, I don't think. I think they worked with AEW and they appeared in AEW as part of the TNA crossover, but they never actually did anything in AEW. Like they were TNA World Tag Team Champions, but that was because they were in TNA and not in AEW. So that's getting the bin. Like, I have no fond memories of Gallows and Anderson in AEW at all. They honestly might end up back there now that they've since been released from WWE. They might end up back in AEW this time as fully contracted performers. What more could they even do in like a fucking TNA or something like that? You know what I mean? They were there for years. They won the tag titles there. What more could that team really do? They were even in Japan for a little while. Maybe focus on Carl Anderson on his own as a singles competitor, but like the team itself, who gives a shit? Shawn Spears, I'll also put and get in the bin. Good wrestler, but his run really peaked in AEW when he had that feud with Cody Rhodes during that first year. They put him with Arn Anderson. No, it wasn't Arn Anderson. It was, who the fuck did they have him with? Oh, Tully Blanchard. Tully Blanchard for the Arn Anderson-Cody Rhodes pairing to kind of combat that in the summer of 2019. But from there, it was all downhill. I mean, I know he joined the, not Fortune, that's TNA. The Pinnacle, when they did that group back in 2021, he was on TV a fair amount during that whole storyline, but even after that dissipated in 2022 and he was quickly squashed by Wardlow, he went on to do absolutely nothing. So I'm going to put his run in get in the bin, but in between Andrade and Gallows and Anderson. At least Andrade had better and more memorable matches than Shawn Spears. Malachi Black is next up. I'm going to put him at just about bearable. Because his run, I mean, I love Malachi Black. He's great. But he never really had a true run in AEW on his own. That initial debut was amazing. The initial Cody Rhodes feud was very good. Did not end with him on top, but that was fine. The aftermath of that was what really bothered me. They put together House of Black. He had his own group. They won the Trios Championships and held those belts for a while in 2023. But like beyond that sort of stuff, you can't really name anything that stands out as being special. No great feuds. The Trios matches were great. On his own, though, he really should have been a lot bigger than he was. And now he's probably on his way out of the company. If he's not already out of the company now, he probably is, as of this recording, or will be soon. I got to put him at just about bearable because I like Malachi Black a lot. He's an amazing talent. And again, that first, I would say 6 months or so of Malachi Black in AEW were tremendous. That first initial period. But everything else after that fell short of my expectations of what I wanted to see him do in AEW. So I got to put him above Ty Conti. At least he won gold there, but he really should have been utilized better than he was. So far, we're very bottom heavy on this list. Yeah, Mark, and this is how you know this list is old, because if this list was current, first of all, the video would be a lot longer, but also the video would be a lot longer because we would have a lot more people. But we're at the point where we're including Mark Henry, who obviously never wrestled in AEW. All he did, the greatest thing that Mark Henry did on camera, and I'm sure he helped out a lot of people behind the scenes. He's now since gone, or now since left AEW and is probably under a Legends deal in WWE. We've seen him on camera in the crowd a few different times in recent months. But the greatest thing that Mark Henry ever did on AEW television was the whole Rampage thing. And now it's time for the main event, or whatever he used to do, which was cool. But it was like, did he really do anything else? So, and I love Mark Henry. He did some commentary, I think. I don't really remember. Honestly, his run was pretty much a waste of time. On camera, anyway. Behind the scenes, he was great, from what I understand. But on camera, he didn't really do shit. So I got to put him and get in the bin. I'll go below Andrade, but definitely above the OC. Fuck the OC. Like, those guys were just awful. At that point, I was excited to see them in AEW, but they didn't really do anything. And they were only there as bodies as part of that elite angle, that whole heel turn in 2020. But Mark Henry, I'll probably put him above Shawn Spears. Shawn Spears was just a fucking jobber. At least Mark Henry had the whole Rampage main event thing. And I think he was on commentary a little bit too, but I could be wrong. Matt Bernard and Angelo Parker. I mean, honestly, they've gone a lot farther and done a lot better for themselves in AEW than they ever did in WWE. Daniel Garcia is also in this picture, but he was never in WWE, to my knowledge, as a contracted performer. So I won't put Get in the bin because they've gone over. They've done well for themselves. You know what? Honestly, I'm going to go all right with them. I'm going to put them in the middle category. Because at least they've gotten over, and that might sound like a bold opinion there, but at least they've gotten over and they've fared far better for themselves in AEW than they ever did in WWE. The whole Jericho Appreciation Society stuff was overall terrible, but at least they got them on TV. They're over now. They're a good tag team. They're talented dudes. They're with Daniel Garcia still doing that whole thing. So I'll put them in the all right category. Miro, where do we start with him? He has barely been on AEW television in the past 5 years since he debuted. He's probably spent an overall year on TV in that company. Like, he debuted, the initial first few months were not great. He was with Kip Sabian. That was kind of a waste of time. And then he finally won the TNT Championship early on in 2021, mid-2021, had a great run as TNT Champion. As soon as that was over, he was never the same. And that was almost 4 years ago. He went on to do absolutely nothing in that company. He would appear sporadically, and then disappear, and we still have not seen him since late 2023. So I got to put him in the get in the bin territory. I mean, he won the TNT title, had a good little run there, so I'll put him above Andrade. But Miro in AEW, he had a great resurgence as a character, but it's been an overall massive disappointment. Taz is fucking great on commentary, so I'm going to put Taz at lovely. I'll put him right below Brody Lee. He technically didn't leave WWE for AEW. He hadn't, done commentary for WWE since 2009 before he joined AEW in 2019, 2020. So it's not fair to say that he left WWE for AEW. He's just a former WWE talent. But Taz is great on commentary, still is. I love Taz, so I'll put him in the lovely, lovely, lovely category. Paul White, the former Big Show, he's wrestled a few matches. He's done more than Mark Henry, and he's still there. I'll put him at the just about bearable territory. I mean, I can't, at least with Andrade and Miro, I could tell you they've been massive disappointments, or they were massive disappointments in AEW. Andrade, I could say was, because he's not there anymore. But Paul White, at least he's still been there. I'm sure he's helped out behind the scenes. He was good on commentary on Dark Elevation for as long as he did that whole gig a number of years ago. But, I'll probably put him at just about bearable. Ty Conti, I would say her run has been more rewarding as far as improvement. Big Show ain't improving anything at this point, and the guy's done it all. But, it's been there. He's been there in the company, and that last match I think he had, that 8-man tag team match about a year or two ago, was fucking... Like, his showing in that match was not great. That was kind of embarrassing. But everything else he's done has been perfectly serviceable, so I'll put him in that territory. Serena Deeb, I mean, this is not a great... this is a very bottom-heavy list. I like Serena Deeb a lot, but again, she really hasn't done anything. She wasn't really disappointing. I mean, granted, she did do more she has done more in AEW, not winning championships, but like at least in AEW, she's been on television. In WWE, her initial run 15 years ago, she was barely there for a cup of coffee before they fired her. But they brought her back as a trainer. I think she was in the Mae Young Classic a number of years ago, but she was never on television after that, and she was just a trainer for NXT. At least in AEW, she's been in the ring. She had that whole Serena Deeb dojo thing going there for a while in 2021, 2022, whatever it was. So I'm going to put her at just about bearable. I might even put her at all right. I think Serena Deeb's very good. She hasn't, again, done much, but she's done a whole lot more than what she was doing in WWE. So I'll put her in the middle and kind of categorize her at the same level as Matt Menard and Angelo Parker as people that really exceeded my expectations upon signing with AEW. Sting, to me, has got to be, if Jon Moxley is 1A, Sting is 1B. He had an amazing run in AEW from that great debut back in 2020, won the tag titles in his retirement match, or actually had the tag titles in his retirement match, won the belts before that, retired as one half of the AEW World Tag Team Champions, and was consistently over, never lost a fucking match, had a lot of cool moments and stuff that I never expected to see from that stage of his career when we all expected him to be done following his WWE run, which was definitely underwhelming overall. But him in AEW was great. He was, a key part of those early pandemic shows in 2020, 2021. So I'll go Sting in the best category for sure. Christian Cage is another really good one. I'll probably go lovely, lovely, lovely for him. Above Brody Lee, close to the best. He had a great TNT title run. He's really reinvented himself, rather. But that wasn't until 2023. The first 2 years, he was either hurt or really not doing anything. But the last 2 years, like he's been there for 4 years. The first 2 years were kind of nothing. And he had good matches, but he wasn't really wrestling. He got hurt a few times. The last 2 years, in the time that he's been on television, has been awesome as a heel, reinventing himself, the great TNT title feuds, and matches and reigns that he had with Adam Copeland and whatnot. That whole thing was excellent, so he'll be in the lovely category. And then finally, Matt Hardy. I mean, he was there for a while, to his credit. I mean, he was there for almost 4 years, I think. He debuted in early 2020, great pandemic debut. He wasn't doing shit in WWE. They were treating him like a jobber towards the end there in 2019, early 2020. So he made the right call by going to AEW. Did he win gold at all at any point? I don't think he did. I don't think him and Jeff never won the tag titles. He was never trios champion. He was there, and I love Matt, but I'm just thinking like the big money Matt stuff I was hoping for more from. The best Matt Hardy period in AEW was probably that first year. When he first came in, he was doing the broken stuff, which I enjoyed. He did the final deletion match. He was also himself for a while. I enjoyed the early stages of Big Money Matt, but then the whole MFO, CFO, whatever that fucking group was that he did was just awful. That was not a good group. And then he reunited with Jeff, and then Jeff got himself suspended, and Matt was still around, not doing anything. So I can't really say he had a great run in AEW overall. It was good, but it was just kind of all over the place. I'll probably put him at just about bearable. I'll put him below Ty Conti. Ty Conti, I've been more impressed by her progress and improvement. Paul White hasn't really done much, but I think Matt Hardy had a more memorable run overall. The Hardy Boys, reunion for as long as that lasted anyway, was fine early on before Jeff got himself suspended. Stuff with Ethan Page was kind of like, eh. I mean, I thought they told a good story, but none of those guys are even there anymore, so it's like, does anyone even really give a shit in retrospect? You know what I mean? But yeah, that's my list. So this is my WWE Superstars, your left WWE for AEW tier list. Jon Moxley at the very best, then Sting, and then FTR. At the lovely, lovely, lovely category, we have Christian Cage, Brody Lee, and Taz. All right, we have Daniel Garcia, and not Daniel. I keep saying Daniel Garcia because he's in that picture, but it's Matt Menard and Angelo Parker, followed by Serena Deeb. At the just about bearable category, we have Malachi Black, Ty Conti, Matt Hardy, and Paul White. And then in the get in the bin category at that level, we have Miro, Andrade, Mark Henry, Sean Spears, and the OCs, Gallows and Anderson. So that's our list. If you want to check out the list, I'll put the link to the list so you guys can complete your own list to tierlistmaker.com, tiermaker.com, whatever it's called. And you can fill out the list and share it on social media as well. So I appreciate you guys checking out this episode of WrestleRant Ranks. Next week, we'll probably do some Elimination Chamber stuff. Shout out to the Average Grunt for the shout outs, for the recommendations and suggestions for what I should do on WrestleRant Ranks this week. I'll probably do chamber related stuff next week and the week after before the pay-per-view on March 1st. And then we'll start doing some WrestleMania content probably in the weeks after that, starting in March, going into April. So keep an eye out for that sort of stuff as well. Like I said earlier, if you want to check out the other episodes of WrestleRant Ranks here on the channel, you could do so in the description box down below. We have a whole playlist of the greatest auras in NXT history, ranking every Raw theme song ever, forgotten Penta rivals you should face again in WWE, and so much more. So check that out. Enjoy the playlist. Enjoy all the other content we have up here on the channel. Until next time, guys, I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.